Hello and welcome to episode 31 of our Timberborn Update 6 Waterbeavers playthrough here in cycle 35, day 18, start of a 7-day bad tide. And yes, we have already diverted the water from here, and we should have essentially no problems with bad water contamination, except for maybe a little bit over here. But, you know, it's not the end of the world. We say as we fire off rocks into the deep void of space from the trebuchet here. But these trees can be replanted. This area can be dealt with in ways that hopefully will be good. We've got a couple different ideas, a couple different suggestions from you guys as well. And we will see exactly what we're able to get ourselves into. So I guess, just to start out with that, the suggestion was made that since we have so much water over here, coming out clean if it's coming through here, wouldn't it make more sense to just divert some of this over into this area for irrigation purposes? And to that I would say, well, if we're going to do that, then we might as well just come up here and blast this out like we had kind of already planned on doing, and just divert into a channel somewhere around here. But obviously during a bad tide that's not going to be something we can even bother looking into, so we will leave that alone for the time being. We are kind of in the need to solve a problem like that at some point soon, though. So we have bad water coming through here. I elected to pause the construction of this floodgate dam because, one, it was really far away. Two, it's not really that necessary for us to build this. I should have just left the blockages in place. But the concentration and amount of bad water going through here, I don't think is going to be enough for this to be a real issue. Because most of it can go off the map here, or be diverted somewhere else if we are really concerned about it. But I did really want to try to keep this clean, because it's going to take a while for this to get evaporated unless we did something manually to it. Stuff to consider for later, because remember, this is just a 7-day bad tide. We can mess with other stuff later. We have 4,700 water in storage, which is good, because we have 260 beavers at this point. And we've got a decent bit of water here that probably could survive a couple days of pumping, but I know I get in trouble every time I do this, but we need to have irrigation here. I don't have enough of these things, so we are unfortunately going to need to pause these pumps. I know I can hear the rage as I speak. It's fine. It's going to be okay. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. We'll just let these things get kind of settled here. Now we have 10 homeless beavers that need to have somewhere else to go. You might remember also, we have all these gravity batteries, which, you know, during a bad tide are not going to be super useful, but we have a total of 120,000 HPH right here alone, plus these two that can be upgraded to give us, well, a good bit more than 6,500 each. We can run basically anything during a bad tide or during a temperate cycle, and we have these factories currently, can't click on all of them from the same side, currently paused, except for this one that is making metal blocks. We also really need to have more anvils, and I'm going to turn this factory on that will give us housing for 6 beavers out of our 10 who are homeless, and they will continue working toward making anvils, which we will need to continue building additional primitive ironworks. We did manage to get both of these built, and that's good because we have to have crude saw blades, and we have to have metal fasteners, and we will also need to have tools as we continue working on other stuff. We have 73 right now, which is probably fine, but I definitely want to build a third one at some point. We will get there. It's going to be alright. Other things to consider. Last episode, we built our beaver burn unit, which I guess in the comments I was made aware that not every language, every culture recognizes what a burn unit is. So I guess I should have explained that in the title. People clicked on it, and at least a couple thought that I was trying to think of a way to actually burn beavers, which no, that's just in American English at the very least. I can't speak for anybody else. Burn unit is a part of the hospital that treats burns. So that's why I chose to call it that. Hopefully we can all understand it on the same page now. But the idea was posed that we do something similar to this with our other types of things over here, like the injuries medical beds, and then, just because I know this is where one of these is, the diseases. Those take bramble flowers. The injury one takes half-fermented sake. So one of the ideas that was posited is here, where we have fermentation barrels and we have the fermentation house making half-fermented sake. We could have those things a little bit closer to some of these useful things like the medical beds for injuries, which, seeing how this is set up right here, I figured I could put a couple more of them. We don't have a lot. In fact, I don't see any with minor... Okay, well, no, Beaver's injured 6, in parentheses, would be our minor injuries. We have severe injury, which cannot be treated without a clinic, and we're not there yet. But just to make a few improvements here and there, acknowledge what we're doing here, we will need to have these relatively close to where stuff is being produced, and we also have a ton of rice, more that has not been harvested that we'll need to do something with, so we could definitely stand to have at least one more fermentation barrel. So that eventually will be something we get to work on. We've got a florist here making bramble flowers, we got a florist here making berries, and we still don't have enough of either of them, so that is, friends, where the tree nursery comes in. But I said I was going to try to be good and not build this until I had somewhere to put it. And that opens up an entirely different can of worms. We talked about this. I'll put this on triple speed because it's overnight. We talked about blasting this out so we have a lot more farming space and trying to condense things. I think that would be smart. But we don't have enough explosives yet, and that will take some time. So it's been on the back burner forever. It can't stay there. But for the time being, that's where it has to go. We also, last episode, put the giant buried tank in here, and some people asked if we could place one of these entirely on platforms. So I don't want them to build this, but I do want to try it. So let's come up here where I know they can't actually do anything. So we go 3, 3, 3. Just go up a little bit. I'm pretty sure it's going to be possible for this to work. Yeah, so you can do that if you're truly desperate and you have a lot of scaffolding just, sitting around and you feel like wasting 27 of them. Well, it's not a waste because it allows you to build this thing, but that does work. I don't think I'm going to be doing it. Probably would be smarter to do, the correct way, but that does work. Moving on to other bits and pieces here. Taking a look at my notes here. A whole lot of suggestions. The Copyist Lodge, regrettably, must be unpaused because it is a dam. And I only need to, have comic books made out of any of these things. But I don't want them to make it, so I'm just going to have that workplace taken care of. And that will take care of the homeless beaver problem. Now we have 4 extra beds, in fact, because of how stuff moves around. Next up on the list, we already talked about irrigating the forest area with water from the lotus flowers, but that's going to be kind of involved, even if it is closer. Talked about the burn unit. Talked about a couple other things here. Okay, we'll go ahead and address this now. The library and all this stuff right here is kind of in a bad spot in terms of taking up valuable space. So a suggestion was made that we could move the library somewhere else, along with this cooking house and these fermentation barrels for the kimchi. And I don't know. I'm not entirely sold on the idea, but I can see the merits of it. I think that might be a beneficial thing for us to do, but don't forget, we also have the ENS to build, and we have 2,000 science, so I could research this and start building it, even if we don't have the incredibly compact library set yet, which that's going to take a while. So we're going to need to decide what's going to be the most important thing for us long term. I think, judging by what we have and have not unlocked, we're probably, since I said I didn't want to do the tree nursery until we had an actual place to put it, it's currently a bad tide, we're probably okay not unlocking anything else science-wise for a while. Or at least trying to save these 2,000 for the ENS. If we switch to the library book recipe, it will take 5 sheets of paper and 1 pencil set to make 1 book every half hour. The library absolutely could make those pretty quickly if we can produce the paper, which I believe our paper producing stuff is currently offline, and we've got some other things to fix with that. But it makes sense to just go ahead and have them do what they can do, and we can also decrease the amount of beavers working here to try and solve some other problems. So, pencil sets, I have 70-something. Those are all being loaded very quickly. Remember, we have to make incredibly compact library sets, we have to have 200 books. So that will require 200 pencil sets and a lot of paper. 1,000 sheets of paper. Now, they can just work on this in chunks. It doesn't really matter that much, but just try to keep ahead of stuff. The paper mill is going to need to be turned on. Gears, pine resin, sawdust. We do have some... Oh, that's saltpeter. We don't have any sawdust. So many problems. So little time. The rudimentary sawmill is producing sawdust, but it doesn't have any crude saw blades. The crude saw blades, normally being produced here, don't have any scrap metal. The scrap metal being produced here doesn't have enough iron ore. Scrap metal being produced here also does not have enough iron ore. This is set to mine some and probably could stand to have some more beavers in there. So I'm going to bump this up to 10. And yes, it is better to have 10 beavers here in the medium mine than to have both of these primitive mines working, just because of how much faster this is. This is every hour and a half we get 5 pieces of iron ore versus a fully staffed mine here. Every 1.5 hours would get 1. It's like not even close. So that's something that will help us out tremendously, even if it does take a little bit of time to get everything kind of sorted. It'll be alright. Burns are still looking good. Mild disease is one of those things that's not going to improve until we have a lot more brambles. That will take time. Severe injury we talked about. Minor injury will improve once we have more medical beds for injuries and these other things set up. But again, just takes time. So I guess now that brings us back to the ruined aqueduct things we got right here. Some of you said you don't want to see me get rid of this, and I'm going to do it anyway, but I would like to ask you why. Because we really need the space. We really need the space. And this is pretty centrally located. So, I mean, I'm going to continue demolishing these. Like, you're not going to change my mind on it, but just curious to know your opinions about why we should or should not do that. Yeah, see, the paper is just such a slow process. It's fine. Now we got 5 days left, bad tide-wise, just about, and we're already down to 2,300 water, which is, gonna be cutting it pretty close. Food-wise, not looking tremendously good either, because we're lacking certain ingredients, like sunflower oil. Why are we lacking sunflower oil? Well, this one screw press really can't keep up all by itself. We also don't have any more screw press axles. So remember how I deleted this thing here that was making those? Well, these guys here are the ones that took up the mantle of that job after that other one was removed. And it does take them almost 3 full days to make a single screw press axle. So we're going to need to make more of these. But you already know what I'm going to say. It just takes time. So, the other stuff to consider. Irrigation lodges need to be prioritized by haulers. I was told in no uncertain terms that it was a mistake to deprioritize those. I need to remember where the rest of these are. And then that one right there as well. I think as we, simplify stuff, get it set up a little bit more economically minded, we should be okay. This district also needs a method for beaver showering. Look at all these dead trees dying due to contamination. But that's okay because they're fully grown anyway and they hadn't been cut down. We don't have enough log storage. We need to fix that. And this has not been irrigated properly. That's fine. We already knew that was going to happen. But you know how it goes. Just takes time. This one is, wow, 98%. Just need to have some beavers in there. But I think we might be having problems here because we don't have enough beavers living in this district to actually do all of our work. This terrain block also needs to go somewhere else. I need to figure out what I'm going to actually have done here. So the floodgate dam, like I said, is not really the way we want to be going about things here. But I think what I can do to make this kind of salvageable, I'm not going to do it right now because it's a bad tide and they're going to get poisoned, and I don't have good poison defense stuff here. But I'm going to take all of this out, and then I'm going to start using these other levees here to kind of build this back, because I don't want to have any more buildings that actually require housing to take care of stuff in this exact spot. Just start the process, build here, put a piece of terrain in, put another piece of terrain in. I think I can get by just putting 2 terrain blocks in over here, and then take care of that. Plus, you know, it gives us something to do with the dirt, and this isn't operating because it has way too much. Oh, I say it's not operating as it's literally operating, but we have too much dirt. We don't currently have anything to do with it, so it's just being brought all the way over here, which, cool, but not really super helpful. This large industrial pile cannot be built because it's too far from a district, and they can't walk up to it, so this will have to have some method of getting up somewhere, which I hadn't previously considered what would work there, but I guess, oh, see, I don't have the metal for a ladder either. So if I just do a spiral staircase here, they can stand on top of that, build that, which means they can then finish this, which means we'll have space for water, and that should be good as well. Now, regarding lotus flower tea, I know this has come up a couple times in the comments. So once this, like, this is handled separately from just thirst. Like, it can satisfy thirst, but if they've already had the lotus flower tea, they're not going to go get more. They're saturated on it. They will drink water to, you know, take care of their thirst or one of these other things, but they're not just going to drink this entirely for months and months and months on end. Same kind of thing happened with lemonade in update 5, I think. But so that's why that's happening. Like, it's good to have good storage of this, and yes, we do need to have more because it can be used for trade as well. But I'm not going to place that as a priority above having more storage for water. And that is that's just going to have to be how it is. I know there's a big to-do made about pausing all of these things, and yes, we probably should keep that running, but I need this to not dry out because this is where they bathe. If they don't bathe, then they're dirty and they don't want to do any work, and then everything grinds to a screeching halt. If we are set up better in the future with how this is, where we're not sucking the water out of the bathing pools, and we can actually pump enough during bad tides so that we can just not rely on, you know, these things not being on, then that's a completely different story. But for right now, it's fine. It's fine. We're going to be okay. No need to be worried about it. Now, we are still making a whole bunch of stuff really slowly, just the way it goes. But we really need to get some scrap metal. And there's not that many places on the map where there's large quantities of scrap metal super easily gettable. There is still scrap metal, and we do have some available right here. But it's, you know, one of those things that just takes time. So I'm going to put 2, 3, 4, 5 scavenger flags here. And then I'm going to be able to get across here once these ruins are removed. Give us around 100. It'll just help us out substantially. And then over here as well, which I maybe should have done a slightly better job at getting into. But I think if we can make use of our suspension bridges without any bad stuff happening. This is only 50 science. I think I'm fine researching this. Just have this go across here. And then we already have this right there ready to go. And I'll put in a couple of scavenger flags here just to make this a viable option. That'll get them here and here. We should be able to get something for our troubles. But it will, in fact, just take time. And we need to have planks. We already talked about that. Gotta have the rudimentary sawmills, but we don't have the crude saw blades. We don't have the crude saw blades because we don't have the scrap metal. We don't have, you see the whole thing here. So I guess I should have checked this before. There's 20% of the way done here. What's this one? Still at 98%. Well, that's fine. I'm going to, since we already have one of these, I'm going to switch these guys back to plank making. Even though it's incredibly slow, it is necessary. That, Well, we have so much stuff that needs planks. We really, really needed to solve this problem sooner than right now. I guess we'll just say that is the easiest thing to do. Once this guy's done, I can pop in a spiral staircase here to get access to that. This is going to take time to build because, of course, we don't have the planks. There's not really a great way to get said planks. But we can slowly make our way around. Slowly. I know there's some over here, but we have to have planks to get up and down here, too. Don't forget, there's some over here. So on and so forth. You know the drill. But this is like the easy mode here, if we can get over there. And pollution resistance factor, we have 1,000. We do have it being produced here, but the storage is full. So that has not been an issue for a while, but just want to make sure we don't ever shut this off. We probably should have some more storage. Whatever, check our balloon recipes to see if there's any other trade we could be doing. See, like this right here, lotus flower and methane gets us exotic seeds, or not exotic seeds, sunflower seeds, which we are getting. I just keep seeing the exotic seeds here, like, oh, that's how you get exotic seeds. Well, no, that's not how it goes. Here, lotus flower tea is only used for the sunflower seeds, but I'm pretty sure there's at least one other recipe that uses it for this. If not, then here you go. Bananas with the island beavers, that's one of them. And then I guess that's it, until you get to, airships, and then they're just so happy to see you, they just pay you infinite tribute like you're playing Civilization 5 on easy mode. But I digress. That's just the way it goes. Methane is also a problem. We do have to make more Nenifars, which I guess is probably a good time to remind you guys that I was always planning on expanding this. We just never got around to it because we had all this other stuff going on, and I've been using the explosives for other stuff. But I do want to continue digging this out, plant some more Nenifars, so we can actually harvest those, because we have so much rice. We really don't need rice over here at all, because we're growing so much of it everywhere else. I just don't really have anywhere else for it to go. Regarding keeping the beavers clean and healthy here, tank shower, I mean, maybe if we had barreled water made at one of the handicrafters' lodges, but the better solution probably is just to have a river bath in a place that doesn't run out of water, or wouldn't during a drought, which would be if this area or this area were kept full of regular water with the help of one of those water cannons, which we talked about a few episodes ago. Everything just takes time, folks. You gotta do what you gotta do. So sometimes it is very, very, very slow. And now we have 1.6 days left. There is no water left. They've consumed all of it. But they're not thirsty. They will be by the end. We just need to make sure we're not making too many stupid choices here. Alright, so that will be there. This needs planks. Color me surprised. Let's do a check here. What is using planks? Okay. See, this guy making scaffoldings has 2 planks. That I'm just going to straight up pause this building entirely, so they can take those planks out and hopefully build this with some of those. But I don't think there's really much of anything else I can pause or get rid of that's not going to cause issues. I know they were supposed to be using planks for building this and building this, but now that that's marked as the priority, maybe we'll actually see it happen. Yeah, they haven't even gotten to that yet. So these beavers are just here, sitting here doing nothing. So many problems because I don't have scrap metal, don't have planks, don't have all that. Well, as soon as I get 3 more scrap metal, I can have 1 crude saw blade, and then a lot of these problems get a little bit better. Slowly. See, this just does not have iron ore. No available workers, but it can function without them as long as it's got the goods from all of those other guys. Oh, see, now they need coal, but there is coal here, so I guess that's just a hauler optimization issue. Okay, one more plank here. Anybody going to be grabbing that for me? I don't know. This beaver needs to be in infected, contaminated beaver jail. It does say, or it doesn't say anymore, rather, that it doesn't have materials, so I can only assume that means somebody's got a plank and they're bringing it over here. Who's going to be the lucky one to get it done? They're probably, you know, halfway across the map and I'm just sitting here looking like an idiot for no reason. Somebody's carrying something. No, that's bad water or explosives or something like that. I don't know. We have an anvil also probably taking up most of the materials we're trying to use for all this other stuff. No, it only has 5 scrap metal. Okay. But that's fine. It all works out in the end. Even if it is a little sketchy in the meantime. I do appreciate the oversized water pump still, you know, sucking beavers in during bad tide season. I guess that's the way that goes. But we did get the spiral staircase in here, which means we can actually get some of this, and that should go quite a bit faster. And then we can get this bit done, and then if I want to blast it to get the 15 scrap metal, then I can, but we probably don't need to be doing that. This is a much more worthy target of blasting. And that is, like I say all the time, just going to take some time. At least we're doing okay. The thirst issue is not a problem. 0.2 days left. We'll be able to pump nice, clean water very, very soon. Just get all of these operating again as best as we can. I guess we, like you guys have been saying, shouldn't worry about having all of these beavers. Just need to keep it open, but easier said than done. Just get that all set up. Alright, cycle 36 begins. This should run clean very, very shortly here. Gonna wait a little bit longer for that, but I think at this point now this is fine. Divert. The tiny bit of nasty is going to immediately be vaporized there. That's done too. Rotate, pump, get your water, solve a bunch of problems, make a bunch of stuff. 73 vacancies, but only 3 of them are minor burns. And we still don't have, of course, because they're waiting on planks. Who would have thunk it? Okay, 1 more scrap metal and we'll have crude saw blades here. That's going to help. These guys can get to multiple pieces at one point in time here. How are we looking on planks? Nothing there. Okay. Well, we had the idea that was going to be a thing. But now I can feel pretty okay trying to take stock of what we're doing here. Now, I think if I have done this correctly, I may only need to put in a single terrain block right here, because then I can put a regular levee right off to the side of it and just leave these things in place. I really should have done that the first time. You know how it goes. I'm glad I didn't get rid of those, because that would have been really, really, really dumb. But we'll let them, you know, take care of this, pick up their pieces, and move on with their lives. That terrain block can go away. That one can definitely go away. Oh, wait, there's 14 scrap metal on the ground. We need to have a storage for that. That's for planks. I guess I'll just go ahead and build another one right here just so I have some storage for it. Make things just a tiny bit easier. Yeah, but see, we didn't even cut all these trees down. I need to have better storages. I need... Well, I don't have the glass yet. That's a task for the high temperature foundry or trade. One of those was an option for trade. That was who was it that would give me glass? Or was I just completely insane? No, none of these give glass. What am I doing? What was I doing that made me think I was going to get... Okay, whatever. Don't need to worry about it. Now they can just bring in all of this dirt a couple pieces at a time. It's going to take super long, but gives these guys something to do. So once that is a thing, keep in mind we don't have to have this be a permanent, you know, completely filled up all the time. We just have to have some sort of water in here. And we do have power in this area. We talked about putting in the water cannons. I'd get the 30-degree one. The target for this one is right about here. If I put one of these, say, here, it would still fill up that area decently well. I would just have to have power for it. Takes 200 HP. Now, excuse me, the deal with the water cannons is the distance is always going to be the same. It's the volume of water that comes out that changes with how much power it receives. It would not be terribly difficult to get power routed over here. It would just take a little bit of time, but as we have, you know, said over and over and over and over again, that's not a problem. It just requires a little bit of investing time and energy and brain power into it. So after all that, we've managed to make 4 library books because we didn't have enough paper, and we didn't have enough paper because we didn't have enough sawdust, and we don't have enough sawdust because this wasn't running properly because it didn't have any crude saw blades, and we don't have any crude saw blades because we didn't have scrap metal. But soon, we will have enough scrap metal coming in here to take care of all of this. Just as soon as we have our bridges complete, which there's no planks here, we're going to have 24 of those, and that's, you know, a whole thing. Nothing there, which of course means nothing there, which means nothing there. And these guys are making planks at the speed of smell. So where does that leave us? What have we actually accomplished today? Have we accomplished anything? I say, looking at 32 minutes and 33 seconds on OBS. No, probably not. But we've thought about stuff, and we've analyzed situations, and we've discussed it, which is still progress. Might be huffing a little bit too much copium there, but we need to have more planks, and it's never going to get better until we can actually make some. And we have to have the crude saw blades. Let those get way too low. But now we have a crude saw blade. Well, almost. And since we found this scrap metal on the ground, I think we should be force exporting scrap metal from that district. Or I should at least have the regular beaver bird. We need to name this other district. We need to run a poll for that. Last call for name suggestions, I guess. Where is my scrap metal? There it is. Oh, it's already set. Okay, alright, whatever. Whatever. It's fine. Okay, so this is actually making planks and making sawdust. Hopefully we can keep making more of these. Hopefully scrap metal continues to be a thing that will exist. And then that'll help solve a lot of problems. Yes, we do still have 52 vacancies. So many vacancies, so little time. I guess we really do need additional beavers, as much as I hate to admit it. Oh yeah, the planks also run all of this. How could I forget? How could I forget? So this is making scrap metal, that's making scrap metal, that's not yet making scrap metal, that's not yet making scrap metal because we need iron ore. And that needs tools. I really need to be making more tools, which means I need to have a third one of these. Because I also need to be making metal fasteners, because guess what? We're out of metal fasteners. Except for one. Everything hinges on everything. Don't you love it? There's literally no sleep allowed. This is going to take a while. Let's give him a little bit of a helping hand, if we can. I don't really have anywhere that's going to allow me to do this. I guess just regular dirt set to accept here should help, maybe, at some point. But yes, the river bath, once this is contained, will need to go in a place like this that's going to be mostly taken care of. Now that we know this is not going to be a required thing, we can get rid of that, which also has pieces on the ground that can be harvested from either district, actually. So maybe if I have that set up, the builders will come and grab all of this because there is some scrap metal down here that would help us out a tremendous amount. But they're coming from this other district instead, which is, well, I guess that was always allowed, but there comes somebody. Yeah, just come grab that stuff. But I need to get power going through here, and I put the wrong kind of thing here. So maybe it would be better, maybe, to come over this way. I mean, these are so cheap to build until you have to go across something. Upward power shaft, downward. Oh, these aren't bad. These aren't bad. I'm keeping this pathway to this trebuchet because it's already there. It shouldn't be a problem to build this. We just have to have something done here. It's going to be okay. Don't worry about it. So now this gets to come this way. This isn't really a great place to have a tank for water, but I also don't want to demolish it. There's not really a reason for that. So instead, I've got to get some sort of mess done here. I have scaffoldings. I did turn off scaffolding production. We've got enough wood. I know this is going to seem kind of stupid, but we've got enough wood for me to justify doing this. 17 of these times whatever. I think it'll be fine. We just have to be able to make use of all of this to get to where we want it to go. The reason I'm not having this come out straight the way here is because I might end up doing something with this area, and I'm going to want to have access to that space when that time comes. But the rest of this should be, operative term being should be good. So that can just go straight out here. This path will end up being moved one level this way, just to make some room to where we're trying to go. And then this can, and it probably should be buried in the water. And then the 30-degree water cannon does require the second story entrance thing, but that should be fine. I suppose I just need to figure out exactly where I can get away with putting this. I can't. Can I flip the... I can. I keep forgetting. So that would go there just fine. 150 science is a small price to pay for all of this, and this can just... Because I thought I was going to take it down here, and then I remembered that goes up there. Forgive me. Oh, it's just so much going on. This wood, I'm not going to lose any sleep over just getting rid of it like that. I do miss the modular power things that we have in Update 7. Very, very, very convenient. I guess I'll just leave that open. Have that go that way. And then we have a pathway here that'll help us build most of this. I guess I might as well go ahead and get that connected there. Not really any huge reason for it, but this will help. These can be set to do whatever. Obviously, we want this to be regular water. And then I can set this to close at a certain depth. For this purpose, I guess I should put 0.7. It probably won't ever fill up to that just because there's so little coming through here. But we can hope. We can dream. So on and so forth. I'm actually kind of glad this is really clean because that is going to make it a lot easier for our next task, which is closing this off to keep it that way. So we will want to have most likely a floodgate dam here, not up here. We'll want to have something here that'll let clean water in, but not bad water that we can just go ahead and close. But lots and lots and lots of tasks to get done, and I'm not entirely certain that it's prudent to go ahead and build this now. Here is probably fine. I gotta figure out what buildings are going to go in here. Because remember, what we were going to do is we're going to plant the unbelievably tall bamboo in this general area, and it has to be a certain depth. But that also requires the tree nursery. You see how everything requires everything? So the tree nursery, if we decide what district we want it in, if we, excuse me, if we can have a irrigation tower that will also do bad water proofing, then putting it here would probably make sense because this is reasonably flat land. It's not tremendously far away from everything. I do think that would make some degree of sense, but we will have to, you know, continue accumulating all of these different things to make that happen. All right. I no longer have any patience for this. I need this to be done. I need this. I really need that to be done. Because we have most of the materials, we just haven't been putting the planks into this because of all these other things happening here. And there's still no planks here, which means nothing there. And this is about to run out, which means these jobs can go away. I don't think I want... Oh, I have 29 explosives. Okay, well, that complicates things. That actually really does complicate things. Now what am I supposed to do? Because this is still running, right? It's supposed to be. Ah, no, because the dirt has to go somewhere. And that hasn't been built because... Okay. So many things to do, so many things to keep up with. It's fine. It's always been fine. It always will be fine. What are these guys even doing? Okay, they're carrying logs. Okay, they're coming from here over to here. They're taking their sweet time. Well, they're building that, which I guess is fine. See, the scrap metal can't come quickly enough. Which is why it is really important that these things keep going. 96%, 97%, that's good. 0%, 94%, 0%, yep. Okay, we need coal. I mean, I have coal. I have 500 iron even. This is full of iron ore, so I'm going to swap this over to coal just so they can actually do something. Getting things done one step at a time, folks. See, if I had more planks and I had more scrap metal, I would feel pretty good about putting these floodgate dams in. I might even put 2 of them right next to each other. But, well, that wouldn't cover everything anyway. Okay, what can I do? First of all, I don't need to have these paths in here. We can get rid of that. Help us out a little bit. Is there a scenario in which I can actually use levees substantially to my advantage here? If I did that and I did that, what's that going to get me to? Because that would go there. Okay, that still wouldn't be enough for 2. No, it wouldn't be enough for 2 of those, but it would get me that much closer. No, that wouldn't stop it. Okay, well, we can have one building. Maybe a pass-through lodge. That would work there. Because we do have to have some additional beavers. I guess that's fine. If I just build that there, then I could put... Yeah, that'll work. That'll get the thing done. Which I can just have that do that. So that'll get this closed off at the very least, and then we can slowly start taming this, for lack of a better term. Okay, so this is set up here. That's fine. Now, hopefully the builders who are actually building this can come over here and take care of that. But this doesn't really need to be done until this is done. But if this guy can just go all day, sound effects included, then we'll be much, much better off. Hopefully. But this one's just been hammering away at dirt all day. Let me know how that goes for you. With no actual importation of materials. So what are you... You're taking... Oh, okay, you're taking dirt from there. Why are you... Okay. I guess I'll just set this to regular. I don't even know if it actually makes a difference. It probably doesn't. Well, they're choosing to take the long way around. I guess I can't technically stop them. That's going to be a super slow process. These guys finished, so go do something else. Plenty of jobs to be done. Okay, that's not done there, but this now can actually be worked on, which means this is not too much further behind. And we basically have all the pieces. That's exciting. The only problem is I don't have enough metal blocks. That's being made here. Surprise, surprise. It doesn't have scrap metal. Tell me if you heard that song before. Okay, well that's... I mean, it's on its way. It's going. It's trying. It's doing something. There's also different stuff we can do over here for bad water purposes. But long term, I do think this is going to be best plugged up with the nuclear generator thing. We just have to be able to, you know, actually build it. Very slow process. And, of course, you can't build on top of this. I think I remember somebody suggested putting in one of these in this hole. Well, I mean, yeah, that's a good idea if you can... Not one of these. One of these, if you could actually build here, which you can't. But that's fine. Let's make ourselves useful here. Powered by the screams and cries of frustration of those of you who love and adore all of these things here. I'm just going to double dynamite it away. Those first, and then I don't want to unlock the triple dynamite because that's a little overkill, but if I do this entire upper thing in doubles, then I can come down from the bottom with singles and take care of that. That'll get us a little bit more planting space, and then maybe if we move the library, that'll help too. We also have this here that we should probably do something about, but honestly it's not super high on my list of priorities. Okay, now we're just waiting on 5 more metal blocks. That's unfortunate. I really wanted this to be done because now we are basically full on our storage. What was I going to store in here? I don't remember. Food is getting pretty bad, actually. Food is getting to be a big problem. So I do want to have as much of this expanded for food growing as I can. You know, we've been talking the big talk about this forever. This doesn't need to be taken out. What was in here? Pine resin. And that was not an ingredient in that, so I don't care. That's gone. It's little bits and pieces. One at a time. Just keeping that in here because I know that has to be accessible. Yeah, so, you know, rice balls are going to rice ball. That's just how that goes. We need to have some actual salt. Get that taken care of. Because we're filling up all of our storage, and I really, really, really need this. Really need this. So what do I not have storage for over here? I know they're not really doing much of anything. How much salt storage do I have? I don't even have any, so I can't really check. But I know I have that. I have that, so that's 360 worth, I'm pretty sure. Plank storage, probably... Yeah, plank storage is probably the right way to go. This here. I don't have storage for some of this stuff. Pine resin, definitely do. Bramble flowers, I do. Chestnuts, I do. I already have a ton for lotus flowers. I already have a lot for all that stuff. The rest of these, it doesn't really seem to matter that much. Tools, but yeah, we're never going to have that much. Exotic seeds, we're not going to need that much. We're not messing with any of these right now. See, comic books? No. Clay, we already have. Explosives, I'm probably never going to need to have 701 space. Gears. Yeah, we probably don't need this to be gears, but it's fine. 2 more metal blocks. How close are we? Not very. Well. This is going. That is going. That is going. That is going. Okay, so, you know, it's not all doom and gloom. We'll get there someday. We do have a single plank here. That is, I guess, some reason for celebration. We have a whole 156 dirt here. How about that, boys and girls? This, of course, has nothing. These have nothing because they're busy doing other stuff. Is it going to be possible for them to even build this before anything else gets done? I don't have enough tar either. Which one of these is making tar? This one. Ah, yes. Sawdust. The eternal problem. And we still aren't making enough planks. Because we don't have enough crude saw blades, because we don't have enough scrap metal, because we don't have enough anything. Because I can't get over here. Okay. This has now been upgraded to priority numero uno. Get that done. That's going to be our easiest stuff that we're going to see over here. Now, if I want to have a decent shot of actually getting this completed, obviously these cannot touch, But putting this path here means that builders from either district can build all of this mess. Just need to have that taken care of. Because you know this is going to take 800 years in a day. The Skrymer stole the ground here. Just go get this out of here. Get it out of here. So now I need to have lotus flower. Oh, we don't have lotus flowers. But why? Because I have these guys here. We know they can... Ah, okay. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to unplant these. I know I should have done this a long time ago, but these can spread naturally this way. Get that out of there. Hopefully. We finally got these. They have half-fermented sake here. They have half-fermented sake here and here without being prioritized by haulers. And look at that. Our incapacitated is only 4. One's for mild disease, one's for minor burn, one's for regular injury, which I guess is fine. That has helped tremendously. Baby steps. Baby steps, folks. Now this has all of its materials. It just needs to be actually completed. It is the top priority, and now it is done. And now we have water. There we go. We can prioritize that by haulers, get that completely filled up, and that's going to help us pump so much more water. And we haven't had a drought or bad tide warning yet. Love to see it. Speaking of love to see it, let's blow some stuff up. Beautiful. I am going to wait on these because they're not going to be able to access it otherwise. That is good progress. These berries will also begin spreading. We haven't harvested all of them quite yet, but we're going to be going through these things really, really quickly. Just have to let it be what it is going to be, I suppose. All right, 190 out of 1,000 dirt. That's not going to cut it. We're going to have to do something else. So, I mean, I hesitate to just prioritize all of this. But at the same time, I think this is going to be the best way to do this, is just going to be to build all of these, because it's so many individual things all at once. They still have not picked up the scrap metal because there's no storage space, so that has to be built. Just unclog everything as best as we can, because this is going to take a long time to build, but if this is already ready to go, then they can just focus on whatever. And why are you exhausted? You know, we're only working 18-hour days. It's totally normal. Totally fine. Oh, this one's homeless. How are you homeless? Are you in the wrong district? Why were you over here? First of all, where are you? Okay. How do I even have homeless beavers at this point? Ah, this one, because this pass-through lodge has not been constructed. Okay. Well, we'll just have to let them do that. Do all that stuff. This is going to have dams here. The reason I didn't put that is because I was afraid of the problems we're going to have with bad water pooling up and getting into other spots of the map we don't want it to. Which is, you know, everything comes at a cost, etc., so on and so forth. We're going to have to force a lot of this through here to try to keep this high enough. But it all comes in time. Eventually. I'm going to go ahead and swap this back over to iron, because we didn't have enough of that. How are we looking here? Still, I guess because the builders got told to go do other stuff that I can't really be mad at them for. This is getting there. We're getting more and more in there. That's good. You'll love to see it. As a reminder, the entrance on this one's on the bottom, so it's one level below this platform. That is why that is shaped like that. I would love it if I could just build through these supports, but it obviously is not going to let that happen. So that is as much as we're going to be able to do here for a while. Just want to keep you guys informed on that. But yeah, the food issue that we're running into is now, funnily enough, chestnuts. Even though we have all of this here, we've used so much of it that they just cannot grow quickly enough. We're going to have some more chestnut trees. So if I swap some of these over to other recipes, because right now we have basically no chestnuts. If I change this one over to fried rice, we might still have some issues with it, but it's going to use a different set of materials, so that should help. a little bit. And I am curious about what happened. Did we just power through all of our lotus flowers just really, really quick and we never replenished them? Okay, I feel like that had to have been what happened. We just need these guys to expand something fierce. Because I don't think the issue is that these guys can only gather so quickly. There's just not that much to gather. Although if we did have a gatherer's house over here, it would probably be going a little bit better. Just a touch. But now having almost 7,000 water, really, really, really helpful, especially since we don't have a lot of lotus flower tea anymore. They have made almost no progress on the rest of this. This is still on the ground. And now we have space for scrap metal, so I don't know why they say there's no storage available. Because there definitely is. It is accessible. Very strange problems. They're not working on this because we prioritized that. Probably. Hopefully, well, I know we do have a drought coming in 2 days. So this is kind of a moot point with all of this, but I really would like to have that extra beaver housing available. We'll see. At least they have extra time to do that now, and we have plenty of water. And now we have access to some scrap metal over here. We just have to have these scavenger flags actually made up here. I'm becoming very worried about the food. Not gonna lie. Very, very, very worried about it. At least these are going again. These are making, or supposed to be making, braised cabbage. And it looks like they are. This one, of course, going much quicker. Are they going... No, that is faster. So why is that? That's weird. I actually don't know what's going on with that. That's very strange. I know we have to have that connected, but it's not done. I guess this is going to take a super long time to reproduce, if it even does. Who knows? I guess we will find out, maybe. So what is using all of this? Well, I do have 8 buildings using lotus flowers. Ah, the basic balm. Okay. That might actually be where all of it is. They can't get all the materials. What are they missing? Sunflower oil. It all comes back to the sunflower oil. Okay, well, oh, it doesn't have a screw press axle. Well, why is that? Why is that? So I know I have this one here that hasn't been worked on. Let's have them finish this. I know right at the end of the workday, like nothing's gonna get done with it, but that's very strange. Unless they do get something done with it, it just went to... There we go. Okay, cool. So now I have one screw press axle that can be brought over. What a sound. What a sound. I guess I have to turn these guys back into screw press axle manufacturers. Because I need to have more than one of these. I really, really do. And this can be a 3-way if I relocate all of these, but that's the eternal Waterbeavers problem. And now, made worse is we're not going to have any power coming through here, so we're basically just going to be relying on gravity batteries to do, well, everything. And I'm not going to need to have all this stuff pumping, which means I can pause a lot of these, but that's going to cause other problems. Oh man, I can't have this running all the time. I know I'm going to get yelled at for pausing these again, but that's what else am I supposed to do? Very, very, very limited resources, limited options, limited ideas, limited brain power, whatever excuse you want to drum up for this. That's just the way it goes, folks. That is the way it goes. So this guy's iron ore there. Okay. Tools. Still need to be making more of those. At least I have an extra crude saw blade. Now I have anvils. This probably doesn't need to be making any more anvils here. I guess laboratory glassware would be another good thing to have. I do have enough materials to make one more of these. If they just load everything in, that would be a smart thing. Metal blocks, obviously, very important. Need to have those. This is still paused. This has been making paper, or supposed to be, but we don't have sawdust. And we don't have sawdust because we're not producing enough, and these are all on slow. They should be, at least. Yeah, they are. Boy, what am I supposed to do, huh? At least I have 9,000 drinkable liquid. That's something to be happy about. See, this is already proven to be a problem. Okay, well, at least we can make sunflower oil. We definitely need more. That's fine. Okay, let's check and see here. I'm just gonna go ahead and raise that. That's fine. That's fine as it is there. The rest of this has no hope, but it's okay. We have enough other stuff going on. Hope you took your showers, boys and girls. Alright. 7-day drought could definitely be a whole lot worse. These will stop running and therefore consuming power if there's nothing for them to pump. But now... see, now I have to have these guys, or at least most of them, stop pumping. They will pump this thing completely dry inside of 7 days if I were to allow them to do it. So I'm going to pause those two. Gets us net neutral, and now I only have 1, 2, 3, 4 of these pumps actually pumping, which maybe will be okay. But I want to know what all these builder beavers are doing. You're carrying planks. Are you going all the way out to what's being built down here? That almost certainly is what's happening. So which building are you building? There is a plank on the ground. Okay. Interesting. Well, I did say I wanted this to be built, so that's fine. That got stopped again. Screw press axle's operating. This is operating. This power is not going to last 7 days, but as long as we have enough sunflower oil, we'll be okay. We really need to start moving this around. Okay, that's already empty. Let's just get rid of it. Get rid of it. Get rid of it. That one is still working. That's fine. So now that gets disconnected. This can now become a, you know what? 4-way. Why not? Just build that as a 4-way. This, as soon as it's finished, 2 days will be removed. But I took out 3 fermentation barrels. We're mostly making mediocre chestnut beer, which, you know, we're not even making enough chestnuts, so probably should stop making this. But we do need to have strong alcohol for other purposes. Specifically, that's not the right one. Where's the strong alcohol going? Because if I'm not using it for a lot of stuff, then that solves a lot of problems. That's not the right thing anyway. Alright. All the way down to S. Okay. This guy to make brain boosting salts, and I have none. But I'm also not using it, and I have a full storage, so I guess it's okay if we're not making a ton right now. That's probably fine. That's, that is what it is. For right now, I'm going to kind of try to future-proof this by putting in 3 of these. Now, I know this is not going to generate enough power just from 2 of these wheels. So what is probably going to need to happen is we are going to need to demolish this, unbuild all of these. Can I do this in 6 days? Let's think. If I move this 2 blocks this way, then I can have wheels here, and I can have another set of wheels here, which will theoretically double the amount of power that we're doing. But that will require that I move or remove basically all of this and reset everything. Well, how... I know we're super far away from having the basic nuclear reactor in here, and also that has to be moved out of the way. But 3,000 HP is pretty good. Pretty good. If I could somehow manage to redirect all of this bad water that comes out of here through these wheels, that would generate a lot more power than having it come over here. But there's so much would have to be done. I could probably put in one of those dams over here. Yeah, I could put that right there, which would force all of the bad water to come this way. Hopefully, that's 2 sources here. Would also help keep this a little cleaner, but that would also want to go out that way. But if I did that way, and then I took the time to put this way, if it could all go through the 2 wide, which there's no, yeah, there's no elevation change until you get to here, and there's plenty for it to fall off. Alright, is this about to be the biggest gamble I've taken for most of this series? Is this here? We've got logs. Okay, the metal fasteners are going to be a problem. What was using so many metal fasteners? M is for metal fastener. Nothing is using metal fasteners, except for construction sites, most likely. Okay, so it's... yes. This, which is almost done, and then this, which has not yet started. So I guess that's fine. But anyway, what I was getting at is there's no bad water source here. So if I put this here, or I could just put in an actual building that would house beavers. That's an idea. That's an idea, but then I'd have to actually have them live there. And it's deep enough. Well, I'm trying to think, what could I have in place before the bad water comes back that might actually be more important than what the function of it is, just by virtue of I don't want the beavers to get sick from bad water, even though I can treat them. This is probably fine as a primitive dam because that would allow some overflow instead of flooding this. But here, this bit might actually be a good spot to put an actual building to come through here. Keep in mind, this is an underground ruins that we might want to have set up as an abyss at some point. So we would need to have some sort of alternative method of getting around here. Anyway, all of this done in service of trying to put more power through these wheels that I'm also wanting to move. May have bitten off a little bit more than I can safely chew with this. Stop talking and do it. Yep, you got it. I'm going to... I'm just going to... You know what? No guts, no glory. No rain, no rainbow, whatever. Let's just figure out what buildings I can pop here. That would make sense. Because we know if we redirect all of the bad water, this instantly becomes land that could be used for something, could be another district even. Might not be a bad idea. So, pit and ladder lodges are usually a pretty decent idea. Pass-through lodges, maybe I should avoid because that would just be bad water. Triple watertight lodges allow for a lot of haulers, which are important, but maybe... Of course, I don't want to build more floodgate dams because those are incredibly expensive. Maybe the best thing to do is just going to be to put in a couple of these regular lodges. Just have it so they can't actually poison themselves. Just pop this in right here and right here. So that would be, well, I guess, technically, one of these, or two of these and one of these, or I put in the 2-story, it says it takes 6. That's probably not that great of an idea. And just put in some of this along the backside, and then put in, for right now, a staircase. Just let them live way off in the middle of nowhere. I can already hear you. This is a bad idea. Yep, I never said it was a great idea. I just said it was an idea that I was going to do. So, I think that's what we're going to have to do. Not that's what we're going to have to do. What in the heck am I smoking here? The answer is nothing. Don't do drugs, kids. I hope that doesn't get me demonetized. That would be very annoying. All right, that is priority getting done because this can be built without going down into the water, but that will be there. All right, so I successfully had that paused for I don't even know how many minutes, and it was probably way too long of a time. But we're getting things accomplished. This is not reachable because some genius decided it would be smart to completely remove everything that we've been working on here. Okay, how am I going to get down? I guess probably spiral staircase. I know I use the spiral staircase a whole lot, but it does seem to be working. We've already decided this is basically, you know, impossible to use anymore. So gravity battery goes away, which means that goes away, which means that goes away. I think easiest way we're going to, well, get away with this is to just put in this as best as we can. Yeah, see, that'll work. That'll get us started. It just removes the gravity battery. Like, we can put gravity batteries almost anywhere else if we have good access. Like, we have all this space up here. We have elevation. If we can get the power shafts up there, then that's good. We can also, in this area over here, place stuff on top of it if we can get the power shafts in. And we do have access from this side to do that, if we decide that is a worthwhile goal. So I will go ahead and just pop this in here with the express purpose of having this ready to go before it becomes a problem. And I'll put that there. I know I've given them a whole lot of stuff to do. They're probably not going to be able to do all of it because that is how it works. Too far from a district and cannot be reached. Okay, never mind. That's because the stairs aren't built yet. You know, I could have also, you know, flipped this around so the tall one was on this other end. They could just walk on the rest of this, but it's fine. It's fine. It's always been fine. It will continue to be fine. The food situation, though, is not fine, which is part of the reason why I really want to have all this taken care of. Everything matters. It is just an issue of what matters more at any given point in time. So that's looking fine. At least I've got a decent amount of explosives. Did they ever finish putting these in? They did not. What are they? Well, I already know what they're doing because I told them to do it. So much to keep up with. Okay, that I was emptying so I could remove it. That's fine. Strong alcohol isn't really being made. That's going to need to be moved. Now is probably a good time to do it. But I know if I don't rebuild this, we're going to have problems. This cannot be removed, but it wasn't going to be removed anyway. So that's fine, I suppose. These are all getting worked on. Pine resin. I don't have a lot of pine resin. What is using pine resin? Let's put a stop to that if we can. Whoa, I got 12 buildings. 12 buildings using pine resin. So these guys making balm that don't have access to their other materials, being sunflower oil. Let's pause one of these alchemists that's making balm so they can take the pine resin out so I can build the rest of these. We'll get there. Okay, metal fasteners wise, I do have enough to build this. They just can't get to it because I haven't made a path over here yet. They should be able to reach it now. Good. This... Oh, this needs 40 pine resin? Okay, well, we'll have it. We'll have it when we're done. That also needs... all this stuff is being held back by pine resin. Okay. Alright, I think I see what I'm doing to myself here. Well, they're using all these materials. They'll get it done. I believe in the beavers, and you should too. What else can we do about pine resin? Well, outside of planting more pine trees, we'd just have to go look for additional pine trees, which there's not a lot. I mean, these guys here have pine resin, which probably don't have enough beaver resources to really be taking these guys out, but I can put in one tapper's flag and they'll be able to take that. It's not going to be a ton, but that will help. And eventually we can get to this other side as well. All in a day's work. And we have sunflower seeds coming in here. That's helpful. I do kind of have some regrets with what I chose to do about all of this stuff, because now we're running into issues. We've used 2/3 of our power. Let's hit pause. Let's reconsider what's happening here. This factory can be paused. That will save us some power. Click. Thank you. 200 HP. That can be paused. We don't even have any coal for this. We need to have paper, but I don't have enough sawdust, so I can't really pause that. See, this is fine. Let's see how that balances out with the jobs and beds. I guess that's okay. I guess we're doing fine. I'm trying to slow the drain of our gravity batteries here, because these are already all the way down. This can't operate anyway, but I'm going to just pause it just to be safe. Hopefully we don't forget. Still waiting on, yeah, tar I figured was going to be a problem. Bet you can't guess why. It's because tar takes sawdust. And this is making screw press axles, and I don't have any extra ones, and I'm going to need them to make the other stuff, so I really can't turn that off. This one is also set up to make screw press axles. So if I just get the beavers over here in there that might otherwise be doing something else, then this one, since it's only at 8%, can just go to making sawdust, because we do have a lot of logs. What a delicate balance of nonsense, huh? At least this is done. That was a big thing, getting that taken care of. This will, this will dry up eventually. This primitive dam being completed, depending on how we want to do things, could also mean that these could be removed and replaced with something else, but I think for right now that's fine. We're going to want to have dams here, but this is the most important thing. I hope I don't flood these beavers out. That would be an absolute travesty, but I think we can kind of help prevent that by taking this out. They should be able to build this from down here. I think so. 3 days. 3 days. I guess maybe I should prioritize building of these and this at the very least, so we can have this going here. That's going to be the most important thing to have done before the bad water comes back. Because again, this... Where am I here? Yeah, this can be finished without getting into the bad water. So I guess that is okay. And we still have 5,600 water. That's looking really good. We need to build more giant tank storages, but that will come in due time. I just need to get my my strategy, well, strategied a little bit better. Would be very helpful to have access to that. So that's going to work there. Just like my mute button works when I have to sneeze. And this, regrettably, is going to have to work over here for right now. But remember, the ultimate plan is for this to be a separate district when that becomes a viable strategy. We also have this underground ruins here, so we don't even have to use this one if we don't want to. And we've got some interesting geography to work with. These guys are just going to be a little bit inconvenient for a while. I think I might be able to... Yeah. Let's try this. Eventually. Give them a slightly easier path to get across to other spaces. Help improve some interconnectivity. That's actually not that bad if they have access to this. Okay. 8 more logs. That's fine. I got 2.2 days. They're still working on this. We have planks. We have logs. Food somehow is improving, which is, a little bit surprising, but I am grateful is the thing. Mild disease is not looking great because we don't have enough bramble flowers coming out. Probably should have more of this, but remember, the tree nursery is supposed to solve a lot of these problems too, and that hasn't been finished yet. Alright, so we're 25 or 27.2% of the way done here, which I guess that's fine. This is waiting on pine resin, which we do have, but other things have been prioritized because I made bad choices. Now this should be as long as these two get done and this dynamite gets put in, I think we can handle just about anything else that this is going to throw at us. Most important thing is that this can resume working, and then the rest can just fall into place at some other point in time. So I will have this set here. Also, keep in mind, since this is going to be power over here, we do have the option, if we choose to accept it, of building in one of these powered bad water pumps at a place that it will work in. So that'll work there. This is just about finished. That was kind of the important thing here. They can reach this from the backside whenever they feel like it. And I guess if I can get this finished and I have enough time, I can put a third wheel in right here, because then the fourth one could be reached from this spot there. Let's actually do that, because this whole thing started due to me not having... look at all this stuff on the ground here. Metal fasteners everywhere. Alright, this... I guess they're still doing because I had that kind of prioritized. That's okay. It'd be better to have that in place than to not have it in place. Food continues to slightly improve. Probably the rice balls, but that's okay. Fried rice up here at the top actually has everything it needs except sunflower oil. Bet you couldn't have guessed that. But we're working on it. We do have this screw press axle ready to go. If I want to have my third one in here, I probably should actually get that set up. Okay. This, I'm glad I caught, because that doesn't need to be that way. That needs to be that way. Then this can just be a regular thing there, and then this has to be a four-way. But this one can be paused. That'll be the easiest way to do it. Alright. This now can become the biggest priority. Get that done. That's going to help us out a lot. And this being finished, I guess, will be something that happens today. Yeah, it looks like we got somebody coming in here to do just... Nope, they're harvesting metal. Okay, well that's fine. As long as this gets done, they don't have to go down to the water to do it. Still waiting on pine resin. Still waiting on, yeah, a lot of stuff. But it's going to be clean water, and that's fine. 330%. I don't know why they're not taking this dirt when they have, you know, stuff a lot closer. If I set that one to supply, maybe that will help. I don't know. You guys know more about this than I do at this point. I do realize having a lot of bad water coming through here is going to just perpetually keep this in poison land. But I think it's going to be fine. So these dynamites, half a day, I really don't want them going down in here to take care of this, but I guess it's fine. We have all the treatment centers and stuff. Let's get that taken care of, and then I suppose I can prioritize these. Just get that out of the way before it becomes an issue. Okay, so that is complete. They can take care of the dynamite. That would be great. If not, then that's fine. This is done, which is good. That will help us out a lot. And we just have to get all of this in place. Do I have a pine resin storage on this side of this area? I don't think I do, but I am. Well, if they ever finish this, I am going to have a place to put some pine resin. So, okay, these are going to stay alive. That's fine. But I will put a pit warehouse here for pine resin just because that's going to be the easy thing to do. Get them in here to do all of this. Alright, 0.2 days left. We have 3 of these in place. I guess that's better than nothing. Just blast that out. while we have the opportunity to. And this one's in place already. That one's going to get put in place. Just need someone to come finish it. I suppose that's better than nothing. It will take a little bit of time before this gets overrun with poison. Alright, cycle 37. I know we need to end this episode here pretty quick, but I do want to make sure these projects do get complete, if at all possible. Okay, now I actually have some sawdust that can help with this. Alright. I'm going to turn this back to screw press axles. That's what it's called. Alright, somebody come finish this before the poison comes, because I'm very interested to see what happens here. There you go. Good job. Get that thing finished up and get on out of here. Alright, so now that has been opened up. I'm just gonna leave that alone. Honestly, it doesn't matter. So here comes some of the nasty here. Gonna start rotating these. It won't be any quicker until this fills up enough with the pressure from all this stuff. But, like I said, good stuff happening here, folks. Good stuff happening. We just have to take advantage of it. 23 empty jobs. I can probably start turning some of these things back on now. This is going to have to be lowered before everything floods. That's fine. We didn't redirect any water over here, but we're slowly making things happen. Slowly. And that's going to be done before too long. This is going to take a little bit of time, but we're getting there. We're getting there. We're flowing through here. Already making decent power. Not, you know, tremendous, but decent power. Yeah, okay, okay. Up to 100. This, of course, is... There we go. There we go. That's what I wanted to see. As long as we don't overflow, we're going to be good. And I think this is wide enough. Shouldn't be an issue. Yeah, see, now this is good. Now this is good. Let's pop in another water wheel. Remember when I said it was going to be done, and then I wasn't done? Because that's what happens, like, all the time with this? Okay. Well, at the very least, we can continue the process of attempting to end this episode. But, man, it's amazing what happens when you have to figure out solutions to problems you didn't even know were a thing. And this still has not spread, which makes me think these won't ever spread, which may have always been the case and I just wasn't aware. And if so, that's unfortunate because I can't really plant any more of these without the rest of them being ripped out of the ground, because that is how that goes. I don't see any danger of flooding anywhere, which is very good news. This is generating a considerable amount more power. That is very good news. This is going to need to have some sort of power storage with it, which unfortunately is limited to gravity batteries, but we do have the regular gravity battery, which should be a lot easier for us to install over here now. Even if it is just on top of a place like this, which this can't be reached right now, but we already have a ladder going up here. If I put one more level, because, you know, we're probably going to want to have additional storage here anyway, then they'll be able to build up there. I can put another thing in on top of stuff, make it a little bit higher, just decide what we want to do, and get done what we want to get done. Screw press axles, again, being a big, important commodity. Sawdust levels unacceptably low. You know how this goes. It's a wild goose chase of wild goose chases all over the place, trying to make more and more and more and more and more stuff. At least we have planks. At least we're using them. There's probably other things we could be doing with them, but that's fine. I'll turn this drill back on now that we're doing stuff. Sure would be nice if this was operable this episode, but I'm just going to have to forgive myself for that not being a thing. I will prioritize this, though, because I think it's going to be really stinking cool if this could be done. Still have this stuff on the ground, no storage space for really any of it, huh? Well, it's fine. These guys can't do everything perfectly all the time. I'm just really glad this has not overflowed, because now this is generating so much extra power. We're in good shape. Although I don't know what the builders are actually building now. If if they're not doing this. All right, I said I was going to be done with this episode. Hold on. Okay, what are you doing? Where are you going? You're carrying logs. Okay, they're all building this stuff. Well, I did tell them to do it. Can't be mad about that. But logs aren't going here. Logs, I guess, are going here. Tar needs to be made with, yes, we already discussed, sunflower oil, which is why this was so important. So maybe this is actually what needs to be made first. It's all of these things. All right, well, I'll just go ahead and start the process now. You already know I cannot do these videos without your support, and especially Beard Boosters subsidizing everything, keeping it sponsor-free, and just focusing on having a good time playing with the beavers, figuring out organic solutions to beaver problems, and enjoying each other's company. That's the most important thing to me, and that's what I would hope to preserve as much as possible, while still, you know, of course, making business sense with YouTube as much as I can without having to resort to, you know, hawking products nobody wants. But I really do appreciate those folks, and you too. If you're not on that list, I am still very glad you're here. And you, of course, are never obligated to do anything, ever send me any money, ever do whatever. Just being here is present enough. So, I know there's still other stuff we haven't resolved from this episode, like we didn't build any more fermentation tanks for the chestnut beer, but we're also not making strong alcohol currently. So I guess it's fine, probably. We will have to do that next episode. We did discuss most of the stuff I wanted to discuss. I was really hoping this would go a little bit faster so I could have something to show you before we're actually done. They still haven't put this dynamite in, which is driving me insane. But hey, we have 2 more blueberry seedlings. That's cool. And we have 68 library books. See, it does actually matter. It does actually matter if you set something differently at the beginning of the episode and then go and forget about it. But now we have a problem. We don't have enough pencil sets, so that is going to require that we set our dynamite aficionados over to pencil set making so we can continue doing that. But we have 24 dynamite. That is enough to do something, even if they haven't, you know, placed anything anywhere. But, yeah, you know, that's the way she goes. Just have to be able to get in here to put the rest of our materials in and start the process of building yet another screw press so we can actually press things with a screw. I know, big scientific explanation there. This is actually fine to stay here. I didn't think it would be. So that's where we're going to leave it. This wheel is now turning. We are making so much power. It is a thing of beauty, and I am glad that we get to share in this. Have a fantastic rest of your day, whatever it is you're doing with the rest of yours. Stay safe, have fun, and we'll see you back in this series on Friday. I always forget what day I do these things. You know how this goes. We'll see you later. Bye-bye.